Hi, welcome to class. My name is Danielle Day, and I'm so happy you're joining in. And I'm super excited that a couple people have subscribed to the YouTube channel. That's fun. Subscribers, I look forward to you sending requests. We had a request from a friend of mine who is expecting, and we're very excited. We love her and her husband so very much. So this is a prenatal yoga class, but it's also for, her husband as well as her friends. And I'm going to get a good workout, and I know you will too. So whether you're expecting or not, expect to have a lot of fun in our prenatal yoga class today. Let's set our timer. I'm going to hit this for about an hour. So looking at what we've got going on here, let's get started. A couple things you'll want to know before you get started. The main idea about prenatal yoga, no matter what trimester the mother is in, we want to avoid twists. The first trimester twists can be pretty dangerous, and throughout the duration of the pregnancy, twists become a little bit more impractical, but also it's never just a good idea because the attachment, to the inner lining of the uterus is pretty tenuous, and we want to make sure that the baby stays safe. So the number one thing in prenatal yoga is no twists. The number two thing is nothing laying on your back after second trimester unless your hips are elevated. And number three, if you could do it before, you can do it during pregnancy. So just make sure you're not advancing the intensity, the frequency, and the duration of your exercises. And you should be good to go. If your doctor says no, so do I. So we're assuming that we're all on board, and let's have fun. All right. Start off with sitting on some height. It's nice to have a little cushion, especially one that you can have dipped down in the front, a little higher in the back. So I've got this little, it's called a bucky, and it's got buckwheat in it, so it's pretty moldable. So here I am pushing down the front part, so I have a little more height in the back. And let's start with an easy, comfortable seat. And our first poses are going to be based in yin. Then we'll work to some standing strengths, a little bit of balance and coordination within reason. And then we'll end up with some nice hip openers and some yummy shavasana. Here we are. Let's get organized. On an inhale, turn your palms up. Sweep your hands up and join them to your heart center. You may wish to make a dedication of your efforts today. You may wish to set an intention for your practice so that every single thing that we do has a purpose. All right? Thank you for that. All right, so here we go. Sit up nice and tall. Relax your shoulders down and back. Turn your palms open, and we'll create our first posture, butterfly. Put your feet together and let your knees widen, and sit up nice and tall. So no matter what you have going on in the front, this is a neat thing to be able to help stretch through the inner thigh line, and it can be really nice for also addressing any shoulder tension. So place your elbows into your knees, lift your heart, and as you exhale, hinge forward. Notice here, it's a chance to tuck your chin down and notice your beautiful breath flowing in and out. Everything that we do in this practice is initiated with breath. And everything we do in this practice is about communicating happiness and gratitude for the life inside of us, whether it's your own or you and a plus one. We'll be here for a couple more rounds of breath, so let's refine. If you'd like something a little more active, press your elbows into your knees and press your knees up into your elbows. Now, I'm thinking specifically of my friend who's expecting. I know she's got way more open hips than I do. So, hey, your knees might be on the floor. That's okay. You definitely want to feel the lift of your heart as you breathe in, and you definitely want to enjoy the hinge of your hip forward as you breathe out. Let's be here for another round of breath. All right, change. Extend now your left leg out for a half dragonfly. or a half butterfly. So notice here, there's a chance for the knee to get a little grumpy being all straightened out like that. So that's where it's nice to cushion the space. I like to take a small towel and fold it up and slip it underneath my knee because my knees are perpetually angry. Our goal here is not to twist and line up with the long leg like we do in Janu Shavasana. No, today, place your foot in the center midline so it's lined up with your navel. Lift your heart, and as able, walk yourself forward to a nice place where we can hang out for a little bit. Now, hangouts in quotation marks. You still have your navel to spine connection. You still have your throat lock, so you tuck your chin a little bit so the back of your neck is long. And as ever, you're keeping your lumbar curve in its natural curved forward shape. So we'll be here for a second. Notice what I'm doing with my hands. Tense your fingertips, and that can keep strain out of your wrists. And as needed, this is also a good place for blocks. If you have any kind of tension going on in your shoulders and you just don't want the drama of holding up your upper body, blocks can be in this nice high shape with your forearms. And so let's park it here. I'm going to set my timer so that we're here for 2 minutes. As you breathe in, think height for your spine. As you breathe out, push the breath a little bit out past your normal breath end point. You can close your eyes so you can zone in to where you feel sensation. And any tension in your low back is something to be curious about. There might be a little bit there, so send your breath to this place. Almost like when you make the bed and you smooth out the creases from the sheets, let your breath smooth over any rough places. We always do this live in one cut, so please forgive me. Hey, Greg. Roomba. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's change. Now, lift your upper body and let's switch sides. So half butterfly, second side. Extend your right leg out. Put your left foot in the center, lined up with your navel. Again, make sure you're sitting so that your pelvis is tilted forward. So you have this nice little duck butt, if you will, going on. And now here, we can cushion the long right leg. And as before, take whatever measures you needed to be able to hang out. And again, we're in this posture for 2 minutes. So let's put your forearms on the blocks if that's what you did. Tent your fingertips if that's what you did. And for those of you who aren't expecting, you could twist and add a little depth here, lining up your heart, knee, nose, and your toes. So big breath to lift your heart wherever you are. And a deep exhale to explore depth. Now in this practice, we're doing a little bit of yin right now. And we want to be curious about what you're feeling. Nothing grinding, but something interesting. There's only 2 ways to mess it up. One is to feel nothing, and one is to feel pain. Now, as you're breathing, remember, it's about the inhale to invite fresh oxygen, and about the exhale to release any tension in the body. So notice, are your shoulders able to relax here? Notice, are your facial muscles soft? And if you'd like a focal point, you can constrict the back of your throat slightly for a little of Ujjayi pranayama, this whisper breath. My dog is snoring, so I sure appreciate his pranayama. Concentrate on your breath. Meditate on it. Okay, so let's help yourself up with using your upper body strength to come out of the posture. Now let's get into dragonfly. We'll have 2 straight legs this time. So if your knees are sensitive, you need cushion under both of them. Another option is to put a yoga strap folded or rolled up. So that's just enough height to keep a micro bend in your knee. Now, bolsters are also fun to use to prop a pose like this. Again, shift your pelvis a little bit forward. Inhale to lift your heart. And you've got room here to drop forward. Regulate the depth. That's our first quest in the yin pose, is we want to find appropriate depth. So search for the thing that feels interesting, the sensation that you're looking for. You could always stack up your fists to support your head. And go to the place that's right for you. You might be folded flat down. Like I said, I know my friend who's expecting, she's way more flexible than I am. So as you breathe in, lift your heart. And as you exhale, come to the depth that's appropriate for you. And we'll be here for 2 minutes. Remember, this is for you, and this is for them. Whether you are a she, a he, or a we, breathe with gratitude for this moment. About halfway through this posture, if you can no longer feel it acutely, you could always take your props a little bit deeper. So as needed, as able. And it's always nice to assign mantra. You know, your breath in could have a syllable like I love. And on your exhale, you can fill in the blank. Myself, my baby, my beloved. As you breathe in, I love. As you exhale, there you go. Self-care. Good job. Good job doing this for you. Good job doing this for them. All right. Now straighten up your upper body. Let's remove the prop. And we'll get into caterpillar. So slide both of your legs together. And we can use the couch cushion or bolster, whatever you have available, to be in the center so you can release onto that. Once again, shift your sit bones nice and tall. 2 minutes on the clock here, and you can regulate the depth as we did before so that you can feel something that is interesting. Support behind your knees is needed. Keep your sit bones duck tilted up and have at it. I'm so looking forward to everything you have to look forward to as a parent, as a yogi. Falling in love with the sound of somebody breathing, whether it's you or you're sleeping, sweetie. So too, befriend your beautiful breath flowing in and out. We're probably well over halfway this interval. So again, if you can no longer feel this acutely, take it to the depth that's right for you. You can separate your legs as wide as needed, but having them just a little closer together creates the shape of caterpillar. And this is kind of specific to the Chinese 5-element theory. So we definitely have 12 meridian lines that are getting their share bit of energizing. And this is the meridian line for your kidneys and your bladder. And as a pregnant person, I'm so grateful you can always pause this video as needed, because I remember the deal being pregnant so long ago. Okay, now put your hands into the floor. Lift your face first so you come up nice and safely. And let's get into some countermeasures. We've been sitting and pitched forward for a while now, so let's get ourselves onto all fours. So remove what you're sitting upon, transfer onto your knees and your hands. Make sure that your knees are positioned underneath your hips and your hands are under your shoulders. Cats and cows, inhale to lift your eyes and hips. Exhale to hollow and round. Now, your low back tends to be a place where you're really sensitive as you progress in your pregnancy, if that's for you, if that's what's happening for you. Because, I really want this to be for dads and friends also. But low back, hey, this is a nice way to figure out what's going on. As you inhale, come to cow. And this is your lower lumbar's natural curve. And this is nice. As you exhale, tuck your tail and round your back. This is cat. So what the effect is, it ends up kind of stretching an area of the body that doesn't really want to move. So we want to be mindful of that. Pull your tummy in tight and push the floor away so you really stretch through the middle part of your back. That's the part that really wants to bend and twist and all the yummy things. No twists for us though, yeah. Inhale, lift your eyes. Now let's come into a tabletop, nice and flat. Get into some quadruped shape here. Spiral out your hands so your first fingers are true north, and you're pressing into the heels of your hands. Extend your right leg back, square your hips, flare your toes. And this is a place to really get a lot of heat. Squeeze your leg tight. Turn your big toe down and lift just to the point where you really feel your glutes squeeze like crazy. This is fired up. Now, take your left hand forward as able and inhale, lift up. As you exhale this time, bend your elbow 90 degrees and bend your knee 90 degrees. So you have your ankle, your knee, your hip in one line, your shoulder, elbow, and hand in the other. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to make 90 degrees. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale 90 degrees. Hold right here and change second side. Send your left leg back. Again, anybody can lift a leg, but we can fire it up if we spread out the toe base, square off the hip, squeeze really tight, and then line it up just to the point where you're feeling 100% contraction in your glute. Fire up the whole back side of your leg. Send your left hand forward with your thumb up. Bend, make the cactus half arm here, and then make the cactus shape of your leg. Flex your toes up, 90-degree angles here. Inhale, we'll get straight out. Exhale, we'll come here. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, come here. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, come here. Inhale, lengthen. Now, here's our last one. Come here and we'll hold. Lift your elbow a little higher. Lift your knee a little higher. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Change. Inhale, lengthen. Set things down. Inhale, cow, spine. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now, let's create lazy dog. Separate your feet beyond the width of your mat and pigeon toe your toes together. Keep your hands kind of where they usually would be, but feel good about softening behind your knees and walking your hands closer to your feet so that you can feel pretty passive here. Widen as needed to make room for your shoulder shrugs. And let the crown of your head hang heavy. Soften your knees and feel the relief of pulling this place of sit bones higher to relieve any tension there. Relax your head like you're saying no worries. And nod your head yes to putting yourself into an inversion. This puts blood sugar and oxygen into your brain. It can feel really nice. Drop to your elbows here. Interlace your fingers. Tuck your chin. And this is just another place for us to work. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath. Big inhale. Deep. Exhale. When you use your throat muscles to breathe, you start to get interested in a really huge, important facet of labor and delivery, which is befriending your breath when you're dealing with sensation. All right, let's widen your stance out. Bring your toes back to where they were, toes and heels to touch. Inhale, lift your heels high. Exhale, bend your knees, and let's walk as able to your hands. And then separate your feet to mat width. Turn your toes out for a squat. So let's sit down low. Put your elbows in your inner thigh and make your feet as wide as you need for them to be flat. Hands at heart center. And we can help to open the inner thigh line. Push your elbows into your knees and lift your chest. And this is a birthing position clearly, but also just a nice way to get the inner thigh line stretched and the low back happy. And let's shift side to side. We'll be here for another couple breaths. All right. Hi, Guinness. You come into play? Beautiful. My baby. All right. So take your hands now, friends, and put them to your hips. Let's work on standing up. So hands to hips, keep your heels pressed and lift all the way up. And here we are. Walk your feet to hip distance apart. And you know your hip distance if your hip bones are lined up with your kneecaps and second toes. All right, let's get into some working postures. Raise your arms forward, inhale, lift your heart, and exhale, take your seat. Now, chair pose with your feet apart is just a nice stable way to practice. If you aren't expecting, you could have your feet together, toes and heels to touch. Bring your hands to heart center and sit a little bit lower. We're going to do a lot for the legs in prenatal yoga because one of the things you're working on, in addition to functional capacity, is your relationship to sensation. You know, when I was trained for prenatal yoga, we were taught that one of the major things is start with a bunch of yin and then burn out the legs. Use a lot of down dog to help the back, but burn out the legs because this is the biggest muscle group and it hurts. So hurts has a word that brings up emotions, and labor is going to really put you into a place where you're going to want to have a lot of grapes when it comes to what people would call pain. We're going to call it sensation. So right here, you can feel your thighs really fired up, and this is awesome. Find a round of breath, change, stand up. Oh my goodness, that was a long time. All right, now let's get into some poses. Take your left leg back and let's fashion up a warrior one. Line up your hip bones to the front mirror. Bend your knee so you have your front knee lined up with your front hip bone and dig your front heel in the floor. Take your hands to your hips and lift your chest. Relax your shoulders down and back. Get deep and get low. Okay, raise your arms up, cactus your arms back. Let's get a little bit of a back bend. Inhale, lift your heart and look above the horizon. Carve out a deeper lunge, and then let's turn cactus arms to shoulder rinse. Interlace your fingers, lift your heart. Now get deep, square your hips, get deep, get low. All right, now notice your back foot. You want your back toes pointed a lot toward the front left corner of the mat, but there's no specific angle to it. You know, this is about how you're put together. As long as your front hip bones are lined up forward, you are in warrior one. Notice your front leg lunged, get a little deeper. All right, let's get a crescent lunge. Lift your back heel a lot. Now, I recommend that you are next to a wall or you have a chair beside you, because balance changes during pregnancy, obviously. Your center of gravity shifts. And let's create some lunges. Bend your back knee a lot, stand up, press your heel down and stand up. So make sure it's all about your front heel digging. Let's go for 3 and 2. Last time. Now step together, 2 feet to touch, toes and heels. So that might be a little tricky right now. So the idea is that you would step forward, but how did that feel? Let's do some repeaters of that activity. Sweep your left leg back and then step forward. So we can work on these single leg glutes. And again, balance is going to shift. So maybe you will hold the wall or a chair, or like I have the table here. Press a lot into your front heel, and let's just get 4, 3, 2, and time. Wow. Okay. Second set. Sweep your front leg, that's your right leg, back to a warrior 1. Again, take your nice wide stance and get low. Get low. Press your heel down in the back. Press your heel down in the front. Cactus your arms. Okay, get deep, carve it out, square it up, and lift high. Back bends are pretty safe. The more progressed you get into your pregnancy, they're going to be probably feeling even better. So get low, lift your heart, and look up. There's no particular shape for anything but the back of your neck. You want to keep the curve forward. So avoid strain there. Get deep, and you can raise your arms if you want a little bit more work. Big breath, and get low, get deep. Put hands to hips if heart rate is getting up there. And again, what we're doing with these warrior poses is carving out these deep expressions of strength for your biggest, strongest muscles, challenging your cardiovascular system, because you know how it is. Your blood volume has increased so much because you're building another person with your body, that you're probably more tired at even gentle workloads like this. And get into it. Let's get deep. Crescent lunge will lift your back heel a lot and bend your front knee more, and we can get in our lunges here. So as before, press your front heel into the floor a lot. Press. Bend your back knee a little bit more and stay tall. Root your front heel, and these pulses, they really fire up your muscles, don't they? Yes! We're building relationship with sensation. Let's carve out 4, 3, 2, time, horse. Now turn your toes out, sink your hips down, and here's another squat position that we do a lot of work in prenatal yoga from. Place your hands onto your thighs and sink your hips down. Lift your chest and sit low. Star pose. Parallel your feet, touch your palms. Let's create warrior 2. Identify your right foot toes and pivot them to the back, and look powerfully past your front fingers. Make sure your tummy and your ribs are facing the side wall and that you're looking forward. Carve it out. Get deep. Again, ostensibly this is a prenatal yoga video, but I don't know about you, it's turning quickly into a sculpt video for me. This is really tough stuff. Get deep and pause. Breathe for 3, slow and easy for 2, and time. Star pose. Parallel your feet, palms to meet. Second side, warrior 2. So get into it. All right, now carve out your shape. Pull your backhand back a little bit, relax through your shoulder shrugs, and look forward past your fingers. Yeah, it's hatha poses slowed down so we can be really deep into the muscles and really purposeful about our alignment. So notice here, you want your knee over your heel as always. Pull your back arm back so you're really centered. Have your ribs and hips looking at side wall, and get low. Breathe. We're here 4, 3, 2, and time. All right. Star pose. Parallel your feet, palms to meet. This time, put your hands at your low back and let's get a back bend here. I like knuckles, helping the hip bones down and the heart high. Maybe you like flat fingers, and if you're super flexible, and remember, you're way more flexible during pregnancy because of the relaxin hormone. Some of you can put your fingertips up and lift your heart. All right, horse stance. So turn your toes back out, sink your hips. Let's cactus your arms. And here we are. We can do some little pulses too. Let's take 10. Nice. Little. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and time. Okay, hands to hips. Let's square into a warrior 2 shape of legs. Whoop. And then let's come in a crescent lunge. So lift your back knee. And as before, we stepped together, toes and heels to touch. So hold the wall if that was too much for you. Otherwise, step together. And we're going to go chair this side. Chair. Keep your feet hip distance apart. Raise your arms. Inhale, lift your chest. And exhale, take your seat. Now, the thing about chair is you want to keep your lumbar curve. And of course, your pelvic floor muscles tight. Your shoulders down. And we're going to be here for a little bit. So hands can come to heart center if this is too much. And we're going to be here for a little bit. We're developing a relationship with sensation. This is a safe place to burn it out. These are your big muscles of your quads. They like it. And the feeling of like, man, that hurts is part of labor. Not trying to freak you out, but we're trying to build up the grapes, if you will, right? Putting just the strength of your soul, that you can rely on your breath and you can know that this is only temporary. We're here for 4, 3, 2, time. Stand up. Woo-wee! Let's take a back bend. Lift your heart, lift your arms, and go back. Hands to heart center. All right, take a quarter turn. Let's widen out your stance. Pigeon toe your feet in. This is a time for a fold again. So now we want to be really mindful as you're folding forward. You can touch onto like an ottoman or your bolster or props, depending on how your flexibility is in your back, friends. So keep your chest up, chin down, eyes open. You can come lower as able, but always, friends, soften behind your knees. Keep your sit bones up. And then let's hang out. We want to rest a little bit here because that was a lot of work. And I know my friend that I'm thinking of today who's expecting, she's done a lot of bar classes and I have not. So part of my thoughts right now are like, is this too easy? Is this too easy? Okay. All right, friends, let's take a skandasana. Now, bend your front knee, and you want to have your toes in line with your knee. So make it true. You want your kneecap lined up over the space between the second toe, touch the floor. You can lift your back heel, and if it's 4, you come onto the ball of your foot. Some of us have a lot of knee pain, so be really reasonable here. You can keep your work shifted back into your heel, or you can come down low. Creep to second side. Send your left knee in line with your left toes. You can feel this nice, yummy stretch through your inner thigh line. Going further, you can come to ball of your foot, lift your other toes, and get a little bit more. But this is for you to decide. And frankly, we're just trying to give the legs a little bit of a break. So skandasana to this side. Now, if you're feeling really plucky and strong, you can turn this into the Tai Chi move called snake creeps down. So, depending on how much gas you have in the tank here, you can get a little fancy with your arms if you like. I'm just showing off right now and getting my legs to feel better. Squat. Let's get into it. Shorten your stance. Sink your hips. We always call this goddess. And I learned something interesting. Having your feet parallel, I am told, has an effect on labor, and having your feet out has the effect of slowing that. I learned this from a friend with an infant. So she was told that if she had her feet more parallel, that was conducive to inducing labor, but having her toes out was not. So mindful there. Inhale, touch your palms, straight your legs. Exhale, goddess, cactus arms. Inhale, stretch it up. Exhale, goddess. Okay, big breath up. Let's set a goal for a 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 more. And here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Feeling good. 2. Come on down. We're here. 4, 3, 2. Last time. Come on down. Again. We're here. 4, 3, 2. Time. Whoa. Straighten your legs. Parallel your feet. Let's pivot all 10 toes to the front. Okay, now bend your front knee a lot. Let's step your feet together, toes and heels to touch. So as able, you could hold on if you're feeling wobbly. Let's build some tree. Now tree pose, where we are going to be getting into some balance. You would want a chair, a wall, or a table moving forward as your center of gravity shifts. As able, put your left foot to your right or above or below your knee. Hand to heart. Other hand to heart. Lift your chest and relax your shoulders. Now this is a time to also work on the Kegel idea. So pull your pelvic floor muscles a little bit up, a little bit in, and relax your shoulders down and back. All right, interlace your fingers, turn your palms down, and then as able, push forward or up. Yeah, so noticing the balance and the options of holding to furniture or not. Go to where you can be excellent today, but with a little bit of challenge. You know, that's the huge mantra, that worry is the work of pregnancy, but that you are literally training for a marathon. So you're walking that fine line all the time of what's going to push my fitness forward, but without blowing me up. Again, whatever your fitness activity was, okay, second side. That's a huge rule of thumb in the 4 golden rules of prenatal yoga, is if you could do it before, you can do it during. So whether that's hiking, running, cycling, yoga, strength training, you just can still do it, but you'll want to avoid any advancements in frequency, intensity, duration, or really mode. So however many times a week you were taking bar class or walking or lifting weights, try to stick to that same regimen, because it's a lot of work. Bringing a new body into the world. Bring your hands to heart-centered tree. We're here for one more round of breath. Change. All right, a couple more standing poses before we find the floor. Trikonasana is really nice for pregnancy too, but we want to really be careful because it does involve a little bit of a twist. So put your right foot forward, send your left leg back, have your 2 heels in a line, straighten your front leg, send your ribs and hips to the side wall, spread out your arms, open your palms, and tilt your body. So there is a twist, but it's well above the rib cage and the shoulder, so don't go crazy. And we won't do the revolved expression of Trikonasana. As able, slide to a place you feel good, and as ever, you can always put your block next to your foot. And when you use a block, use it really softly. Careful not to crush into the block. See how my shoulder's all jacked and my wrist is all creased? As needed, be really mindful of how you're using a prop and not abusing it. It's natural. So as able, stack your shoulders, straighten out your legs, and just have the slightest idea of your bottom right rib turning up to the ceiling. Not a lot, just enough. Have an idea that there's a little softness behind your front heel. Find a round of breath. Change. All right, let's come on up. Parallel your feet. Palms to meet, second side. Send your left foot toes to the back. You largely have 2 heels in a line here, but your ribs and hips facing side wall. Spread, flip, slide. You know, this is the thing where you reach, and then when you can reach no farther, you tilt. Again, get organized. Trikonasana has a lot of options too for your top arm, but I like to address the foundation first. So notice a lot of people just completely lock out their left leg and they get tons of strain back here. Have this micro bend. Look, it's still a straight leg. It's still a straight leg. So micro bend, press the front heel a lot, sweep your top hand high, Scooch your hip as needed and have the slightest idea that your left bottom rib wants to see the ceiling, but don't go crazy. Remember, no twists. Calm down. Now, like I said, there's options for the top hand, so you could half bind if it's getting to be a little too much. And hey, if you're fitter than I am, which is entirely probably true, you could go 2 straight arms. But work with what your breath is telling you is best. All right, let's refine a little bit more. Turn your right hip a little bit forward. Find a round of breath. Change. Start pose. Parallel your feet. Palms to meet. Hands to heart. Hands to hips. Let's pivot all 10 toes to the front. Step 2 feet together as able. Toes and heels to touch. Chair pose last time. All right, fire it up. Stretch your arms forward. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, take your seat. Like you mean it, like it's your job. Chest up, chin down, eyes open, and your beautiful breath flowing in and out. Concentrate on it. Meditate on it. We're here for 4, 3, 2 times. Stand up. All right, hands to hips. Let's go ahead and transition to the floor. So as able, take your right leg back, bend your knee, come to 290 degrees. Okay, now here we are on the floor. Let's get into some dragon pose. Put your that's your left foot forward, drop your hip down. Now, if your back knee is not happy, you could always fold your mat to cushion it. But hey, we're probably all on carpet. If you are on a hard floor, definitely look at putting maybe the little towel underneath your knee. Here we go. Get down here and let's open up your hip a little bit. So relax your left arm on your left thigh. Raise your right arm up and lean a little bit back. Lean a little to the left. And relax your shoulders. Now remember, we're not doing any twists, so how are some other ways we can practice this pose? You could take a half bind here if you're addressing any chest tightness or shoulder tension. Now, we're here for 1 more round of breath. Change, half splits. So peel your hip back, soften your toes, and you can deepen as needed. And if you're working to something like a full split and you're expecting, you're okay. There's a nice room down here. Your goal in a half or a full is to just the same things as always. Have a little softness behind your knee. You could put the little towel under there. Lift your heart and enjoy rolling your right hip down as able. And yeah, look at your arms. Are they getting tired? You could put props like blocks and your elbows down there. And that can feel really good. And we're in this pose for a couple of minutes. I like to say good job a lot during a prenatal yoga class because there's this one human family aspect to serving in this space, and this is why people want to touch your tummy and ask you about the baby all the time, is because all human beings are pulling for you. We're rooting for you. And I'm happy for you. And I'm happy for you to be healthier than I was. When I was pregnant, I sat on the couch to watch my prenatal yoga video eating Ben & Jerry's ice cream. That's literally what went down. So good for you being active. Okay, so we're getting ready to change sides. So remove your props if you were using some. And full splits, let's meet our friends in half splits. Half splits, let's come back to the runner's lunge where we were. And we'll get to change sides. So come back to your 290 degrees, take a high kneel, and we'll switch. Put your right foot down, send your right hip down, and let's get into it. Drop. The best thing about a runner's lunge is this yummy opening in the front hip. But that's just my body. Again, I hesitate telling students where they should feel a pose, because if you're not tight there, I don't want you to trip out. If you're not tight there, that's awesome. Good for you. What can we get done? Push your front heel down. Relax your elbow to your thigh as before, and ask yourself if you need padding behind your knee. Now, we were active before too, where we lifted the top hand, lean back, and reach to the side. There's something so good about this. You lift your heart, You reach to the side, and as we did before, you could take a half bind. Half binds address any tension in the shoulder shrugs. So it's always the back of your hand to the small of your back. And oh, let's just drop. Good times. You can inhale to get organized, to lift up and fix anything you need. Then exhale to get lower. And we'll transition to your half splits as before. Place your hands on the floor and help your hip back. And again, if you're staying up, that's fine. You could also prop up, if it was too abrupt to get into even this shape for you, that's fine. Support it so that you can still feel a little stretch in the back of your hamstrings, but never strain behind your kneecap. I'm pretty obnoxious about that. I just never want people to hang out, especially when we're pregnant, because again, the relaxin hormone means you're going to be more flexible. And it's fun, but you just don't want to add any damage to sensitive places where the muscle inserts into the bone and your ligaments, or where the muscle inserts to the bone, where the tendon is, or where bones are held together by ligaments. Mother Nature wants these places to open up, but you just want to be really careful, as always. If you went to a full split, it's good for you. We'll have some fun there if that's where you're at. And again, if you're working toward a full split, it's all about that middle space. For years I was in that middle space between half and full. And how did we get there? Well, and I say we because my daughter working for cheer, she would do homework in this position. And it was always about the stages of, today do I need a prop? Today, do I need a pillow? Or today, am I able to breathe and feel comfortable? And so let's linger here for another couple of minutes. And if you propped before or you protected before, remember something behind your knee. We're working like that. We're looking good for time. You want to have a 10-minute minimum Shavasana in a prenatal class. And we are T-minus 14 minutes from being done here. So we'll be working toward the Shavasana. Again, I just get so excited for anybody who is expecting to really form a routine around the self-care of Shavasana. Because, and again, worry is the work of pregnancy. Probably the next thing that's the work of pregnancy is putting up with people giving you advice. So I want to be light-handed in this memo, but your whole life is going to be the best you've ever enjoyed. And you're going to look at pictures of yourself before the baby and you're going to go, what was I smiling for? I didn't know how happy I was going to be. And it's going to be challenging. So having a routine around meditation, having a routine around self-care is important. So big breath in and big breath out. We are here for 2 more rounds of breath. Big inhale and big exhale. Okay. So half splits. We want to be really careful coming out of any kind of yin pose where you're hanging out for a long time. You use your upper body strength to come out. Especially because your low back and your core are a little bit vulnerable these days. They're busy. So let's sit down. Help your left hip back and gently draw both legs together. And let's talk about Shavasana. Now, lying on your back deep into the second trimester, of course, compresses the baby on vena cava. And we want to avoid that at all costs. So putting height under your hips is a wonderful way to do this. Legs up the wall is where we're headed. And so take your cushion and place it next to the wall. I'm going to pretend this mirror isn't here and use this as a wall. And there's a real specific trick to getting into legs up the wall with cushioning. You want to put your hip as close to the wall as possible so that you can have a shot at the nicest back support. So again, Have something nice and big underneath your hips. Turn your shoulder down, lift your legs up, and then right away, if this isn't right, like if the baby is compressing vena cava, right away you'll just have this sense of doom. You'll just get out of that pose. I remember as a newly pregnant mom, I was always scared that I might forget, or in the night lay on my back. That's not a thing. You immediately feel like, ah, shit, I gotta move. So that's what you end up doing. So see, my hips are on the cushion. To show you where you want to be positioned, your rib cage ends right where your thoracic spine ends, and that's the part that's touching the prop. So your lumbar, the low back bones are completely supported, and your legs are up here. Now, if this feels like a lot of work, you could be in your squat position, like against the wall, and that's just heavenly. So if your feet want to be like this, that's awesome. If your feet want to be like this, that's nice too, because edema, swelling in your feet and your legs, is a drag, and this is a wonderful way to give the venous return system some support. It also helps to ease and prevent the varicose veins. All that is the blood leaking through the valves because of having to, hold the blood up all day long. So being upside down while you're pregnant is lovely. So let's give you a really nice shavasana here, and we have a nice 10 minutes to do it. So close your eyes, place your hands onto your tummy, and observe the rise and fall of your breath. As you breathe in, notice your hands receive your tummy. As you breathe out, observe your tummy fall. If your brain becomes busy, assign the mantra of counting on your inhale. Count to the highest number you get. As you exhale, count backwards to 0. You're doing good work. Halfway there. Start from scratch. Empty your lungs and feel your heartbeat. As you breathe in, notice. As you breathe out, notice. Now, if you feel sensation as your pregnancy progresses and you can feel your little traveler inside of you making his little workout his own or her own, this is a great time to really spend time directed exactly to them. You know, your whole day, you're busy bebopping around and they're on your mind under your skin. But very special is the time where you stop and on purpose commune. Let your last 3 minutes of Shavasana here be that. Reading stories or poetry. These are things that are so fabulous. You might also consider the metta loving kindness mantra. And so, as you are connected with the life inside you, the mantra goes, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy. And then anyone else who comes to your heart, you might say, may you, person I'm thinking of, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be free from suffering. May you be happy. And finally, in your self-care, in your practice of your routine of self-care as a mom, turn to yourself and say to yourself, say, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy. So as we wrap up your Shavasana moment, just a quick story. Sorry, dog is coughing. You okay? You okay? Okay. So my prenatal yoga teacher trainer shared a story that she always has her moms in Shavasana tell the baby, "Hey, I know I'm really busy because I'm getting ready for you. And trust me, when you are on the outside, it's all going to be about you." It's all going to be about you. And it's this practice of giving the baby that information. I'm told, per my teacher trainer, that this is what turns a breech baby. Doing a bunch of cats and cows, doing a bunch of hips supported legs up the wall, and a bunch of meditation and communion with the baby, saying, "Hey, if you're turned backwards, it's because you're digging your heels in because you think I'm not paying attention to you. But hey, be assured, everything I'm doing is for you." All right, so friends, we've been legs up the wall for a little bit, so we want to come out of this really, really mindfully. So here's the idea. First, press your feet into the wall to lift your hips off of the cushion, and then set your hips down. Be in a fetal position on the side. So appropriate, fetal position. Lie on your side for a second with your knees to your chest. Make a pillow for your head, just so that you don't make any abrupt, upside down to right side up. The hypotension and the exertional hypotension of going from laying on your tummy to laying on your side, from laying on your side to standing up is a big deal. So just to be mindful. Place your top hand to press yourself up to your easy, comfortable seat, just like we started an hour ago. And let's finish our practice. On an inhale, circle sweep your arms, join your palms. And on an exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Thank yourself for taking good care of you so that you can take great care of your family and you guys can take great care of each other. Have a wonderful day, and thank you again so much for practicing. Namaste.